Okay, students, turn into your folder where it says Finding Slope from 2 Points, Table, and a Graph. Okay, so first we're going to look at finding the slope from 2 points. Write down the steps, and then we're going to solve the problem. Alright, so let's solve the problem. The first step says to label the points. Label the coordinates, x, y. So we're going to label the first one as x1, y1. The second coordinate we're going to label as x2, y2. The second step says to substitute the coordinates into the formula m equals y2 minus y1 divided by x2 minus x1. So on step 3, we're going to use this formula. So y2 up here we labeled was 8 minus y1, which is -6. So we're going to put it in parentheses because it's a negative number. Divided by x2 we labeled as 1 minus x1, which we labeled as 3. Now, step 3 tells me to simplify the expression. So that means we're just going to solve. Well, if we look up here, it says m equals 8 minus a -6. Remember, this turns into a +6. So we have 8 plus 6, which is 14. And then we have 1 minus 3, which is -2. So 14 divided by -2 is -7. So my slope is -7. Now, let's look at slope from a graph. To find slope from a graph, you're going to use rise divided by run. So you're going to look and you're going to see where it makes a T or a cross, and you're going to put a dot there. So right here, see, that makes a cross, so we're going to put a dot there. And if we look at this one down here, that makes a dot there, so we're going to put it there. Now we're going to draw a right triangle and do rise divided by run. So how much did I rise? 1, 2, 3. And since I went up, it's +3. And then I ran 1, 2, 3. And since I went to the right, it's a +3. So down here, I rose 3, and I ran 3, and then I divide. 3 divided by 3 gives me 1. So in this case, the slope is 1. Now, let's look at slope from a table. When finding slope of a table, we're going to use what we call rate of change. Rate of change is the change in y divided by the change in x. Okay, and how we simplify change in is a triangle. Okay, what I mean by change in, you're going to find the difference. So, how did I go from 2 to 0? Well, I subtracted 2. How did I go from 0 to -4? I subtracted 4. And how did I go from -4 to -6? I subtracted 2. And then I'm going to find the change in x. How did I go from 4 to 8? I added 4. How did I go from 8 to 16? I added 8. And how did I go from 16 to 20? I added 4. So now my slope is change in y divided by the change in x. So my change in y was -2 here. This is my change in. So it's -2 divided by my change in x, which is out here, which is a +4. And then I simplified. -2 divided by a +4 is -1/2. So in this case, the slope is -1/2. Okay, make sure that you have all of this copied down for tomorrow, for the activity tomorrow. And if you have any questions, bring the questions to class and have a wonderful night.